What's going on, friends and family? Thank you so much for tuning into Every Day's a Saturday with your host, me, myself, and I, Brian Roof. Hey, guys, another great day, and we got another great interview lined up. But first and foremost, we'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for taking the time to listen to the show, watch it, whatever you may be doing. Remember, you guys can either catch it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, um, iTunes, all these places. There's a lot of different places you could catch the show. So however it is you're watching, I really appreciate all the love and support you guys do. I can't believe we're already into interview 4 for season 2. I'm excited to have this guy on for many reasons. I won't spoil it too much, but let's go ahead and do his introduction. My next guest served his country proud in the United States Marine Corps. After returning home from the frontline combat service in the Middle East, Scotty took time off to reflect and heal through writing music. He now embarks on a soul searching road to redemption through rock and roll. His Americana style of rock combines groove oriented riffs, lyrics inspired by his time in the military, and a message of standing tall in the face of personal hardships. His mission is to offer hope and empowerment to veterans through the healing powers of music. Let's meet our next guest, Scotti Fraser. What's going on, brother?
How you doing, my
Man,
good brother?
oh man, hey, I'm doing well. If it was any other way, no one would care, right? But
It's all
hey,
good.
I appreciate you coming on, man, and uh, I'm excited to have you on and tell your story to everyone and everyone to get to know Scotti Fraser. Let's get to know you and tell us why you joined the Marine Corps. Let's get to know a little bit about your Marine Corps experience, and then hear about what you got going on today.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that. Well, it's an absolute honor to be here. I've been a fan of yours for a little while and followed you on social media. So I do appreciate what you do
Appreciate
to
that, brother.
carry it forward to spotlight America's heroes and support our folks. Um, So I'll kind of condense this a little bit, but ever since I was a little kid, in my family where there was a lot of people that served, you just grew up with that notion that an able body should stand up to serve to do something bigger than themselves. So my dad, who was notably older when I was born, was a combat vet, actually of World War II, and fought the Nazis face to face with you know rifle in bare hands and all that. My parents immigrated from Europe, so my dad was with the British Royals, and my mom came from Europe and taught me how to wave that American flag, and my dad instilled in me that interest in serving. So um, I went into boot camp a little bit later, so in my early 20s, and I just had always wanted to serve. So I went in the 90s and kind of excited about that post Desert Storm, post Somalia kind of stuff going on. And some of those guys and reading stories about those guys and gals were my heroes. So I graduated boot camp, San Diego. We did not have
Sure.
the swamps, but we had the mountains. So,
Oh yeah.
so you jarheads can fight over that one. But I served for a total of 10 years, and between the reserve and active duty time. Um, I had been to places like Kaneohe, Hawaii, which sounds like a really, really beautiful place until you do jungle warfare training up in those mountains in that mud and in that heat.
Soggy boots, I imagine, bro.
The
Gosh.
Marine Corps has a way of taking something that is such a beautiful holiday destination and turning it into hard work. But
No kidding, man. That's no joke. Like the way my recruiter made it seem like as I was getting ready to go on a camping trip and they destroyed camping for me.
right.
Their idea of camping wasn't exactly my idea of camping. I was like, oh.
Yeah. But as all of us who serve and go through those experiences, it makes us into who we are and
Right.
carries even today who we are. So, those shared experiences. Through 10 years of service between active duty and reserve, I also served in Guantanamo. That was some pretty tough duty. Um, and doing fence line security and things like that in operations here in Guantanamo, Cuba.
Your
And
what
then
was
my
your MOS? Sorry,
I'm sorry,
what was your MOS?
0311 infantry.
Okay, yeah, dang,
So
all right.
yeah,
Hello. Oh,
so when I enlisted, I specifically went for infantry. I wanted that particular challenge. My heroes that I had read books about and my heroes in the movies were those grunts slogging in the mud on the front lines, and that is the challenge that I wanted. I respect everybody for whatever they do in the military, I mean, we all do our part, and, we're all brothers and sisters in that, but for me, that was the challenge that I wanted. So, I wanted to be one of those frontline guys, and, very, very proud to have served in the Marine Corps infantry, so
yeah, no kidding, man. I mean, being a grunt, that's a lot of training and a lot of work, a lot of dedication. A lot of people don't know. Spend a lot of time out in the field, I'm sure.
yeah, a lot of time in the field. I do remember, when I look back on my Marine Corps time, even on days like this morning, it was cold here in Texas. For Texas, it's cold, but I guess it drops below 60, and we call it cold in Texas. But even on those cold days when you get caught in the rain and you're all wet, it kind of almost flashes me back to remember those times in the Marine Corps. So being in the grunts, I just remember being cold, being wet, being hungry, being tired, blood blisters on my heels, and that kind of thing. But I do remember never feeling more rewarded, you know. So, I remember being hot and being cold and not a lot in between, but feeling very rewarded. So those were good times,
And it
I
is
remember going.
experience too, going through it with each other. You know what I mean? That's the other thing that I think helps us get through it is you see your brothers and sisters to your left and your right. They're kind of all going through the same suck, so to
Right.
speak.
Yeah, the suck, yeah.
So and so we, kind of push each other all through it. You know what I mean?
Right. I couldn't agree with you more, there are a lot of, Marines that I served with in my time that I'm still very close with, and it may be a text, a weekly text, it may be a phone call,
Yeah.
it may be social media chat, but there are a lot of those guys that were in my, infantry units that I'm still very, very close to. We have those shared experiences. But even more so than that, as I've learned getting out of the Marine Corps that, all of us that have served in the military have that kind of shared experience, for
Yeah,
whatever it was for
it
each of
is
us.
crazy how with some of my closest buddies, are guys I served with, and they're like pretty much we can not talk for months, and when we get on the phone, it's like we never left off, and whenever we hang out too, I'm fortunate enough to be decently close to a couple of guys that I served with here in California. So I'm able to, we're able to go out, do barbecues, went to one of my his Christmas party, things like that. So, um, but those guys I consider family, like straight up,
Absolutely.
like, and uh, because we went through so much together and no one could ever experience it and understand it like we
Right.
can, you know.
Right. Yeah, I remember even my kids being born, and the first ones that showed up at the hospital or the first ones that texted me or called me were Marines that I served with. Um, it's that camaraderie and that brotherhood, sisterhood, and it's amazing.
It
Very
is.
honored. I often say it's these guys I served with are more than I deserve, and it's very powerful even to today.
It's a level of loyalty that I think some people don't understand. You know what I mean? And we're extremely loyal to one another. And those guys can call me and I'll be there ready to
Right,
go down with whatever they're ready to do. You know
right,
what I mean? No questions
right.
asked.
Right.
Like, hey, you need me? All right, brother, I'm there. What we got going on?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Or you don't even
Right.
got to tell me. I'm just here.
Right. Right. And I've had that experience with brothers I've served with, and in any capacity we are definitely there for each other. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Through all the hardship in the Marine Corps, through the shin splints and the broken bones and the blood blisters and all that stuff like that, and the homesickness and the crappy food, you know, that brotherhood really makes it all worth it. That kinship, and it's really, really cool. It's really special in my life.
Yeah, when you're sitting there crunching on sand together, eating your MREs and,
Right.
uh, half, like you got that rice that's still like not even cooked all the way and you're crunching on it, you
Powdered
guys are just,
eggs. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
man. I mean, it is an experience like no other. And that's why I think that when you walk away from there's so many people that struggle, you know, with their mental state because they all of a sudden are removed from something that felt safe or like they could just kind
Right.
of be themselves and there was someone there to kind of go through it with you.
Right.
Now you
Right.
all get set off in your ways, bro. And a lot of us, live on the other part of the world or on the other part of the country. I mean, and you could see why a lot of guys start to struggle when they get out and they really
Right.
start to go through even more hardship because they're away from people that understand them. And
Right.
now they're around, because even, I mean, like I grew up with a lot of guys that I mean, I grew up with them from, junior high all the way up into high school and we got even like the same tattoo and stuff. But our level of experience stopped somewhere, and
Right.
then I experienced a whole nother life that they don't have, they can't relate to. So like going back home and experience it with them, it was you did feel like kind of isolated a little bit.
Right. Well, even on that note, I had finished my first contract and got out, and I lived in California, in San Francisco area, and I'm home and I'm back in construction and doing that kind of thing. And just to piggyback on what you just said, and I was out for 10 months, and I just felt that disconnect, without being around my brothers all the time. It's so funny because, like, speaking from the perspective of being a Marine, when you're in, you're like, oh man, I can't wait till I get out. This is all, there's not, it's all, but there's so much,
Yeah, you're focused on
games.
getting out a lot. Yeah,
There's a lot of, there's a lot of
and not being
BS and a lot of
moto.
games and, yeah, frustrations. And then you get out and all you want to do is put on that pair of silkies and put on a rug and go on a, you know, fly the colors and get that Marine Corps tattoo. Yeah. So I've been out for a little while, and I'd always done music, and I started playing in bands again and that kind of thing. And man, I just missed it. I played on some big stages at that point of my music career, and um, big stages like the Fillmore, that was legendary, made legendary by Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and bands and Tom Petty and bands like that. But man, I missed the Marine Corps. So I re-enlisted into a reserve unit, and that's basically what 9/11 happened, and it sent me on my way to Iraq a year after training at Pendleton. So everything went kind of full circle in cycle, and you go from kind of full time in uniform, part time, full time in uniform, and no regrets. Loved it all.
Did you go over there in 2003 ish time frame, or
2003, I
were you in
arrived in
Iraq or?
Yep. I arrived in Kuwait in the desert at, Camp Coyote, when they were
Oh
still building that.
man, no shit. Okay.
Yeah, no
I
shit,
know
Coyote,
so I
yeah.
was at Camp Commando. I don't know if you ever heard of
Okay.
Camp Commando, which
Yep.
we did help. We did support Camp Coyote as well, so I know exactly where you were. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, I remember, before we'd been in the desert, so we got there in, like, February, and they were still building it, and, we were with RCT-1, Regimental Combat Team 1, 1st Marines. Our reserve unit was augmented into 1st Marines, who we trained with for all of 2002, augmented on active duty at, Pendleton. So, we would strengthen that, Regimental Combat Team 1. And I remember being in the desert there just freezing and just miserable
Yeah,
for a month.
dude.
And yeah, so,
Then it gets
and
super hot. Then it gets,
yeah,
like,
super hot
super
in the
hot,
day,
like, a couple
freezing at
months
night.
later. Yeah.
Right.
I think my first day there, I got there in, January of '03 as an early party, so they had us over there in Camp Commando, and then we would
Oh,
go over
y'all
to
had
no
nothing there when you showed up, nothing but sand
nothing,
and
bro, nothing,
cold.
dude. I literally slept in a GP tent on, cots our
Right.
first night there, and then woke up to a puddle running down our tent. We were getting flooded. I was like, "Whoa, I guess it rains here." And I woke up with my moonbeam, and I'm
Yeah.
flashing my moonbeam, bro, and I see someone's booty cover going right down the middle, and I'm like, "Hey, wake up." Oh man, all our sea bags and shit. There, of course, fools didn't have their shit closed, and everybody's stuff was soaked. We were just
Right,
soaked, and we had no clue that we thought, oh, we're in a desert, it don't rain here, and all this stuff.
right.
And then after the rain comes the sandstorms. Those,
Yep.
like crazy
And then you're
sandstorms
wet and
come in.
everything's sticking to you.
Oh, bro, dude, like, yeah, it's like you becoming everybody looks like they're just like mud, walking around. But gosh, that place is a miserable
Right,
place to be, right?
right. Yeah, so I was there too, just like you in that time for the push, for the invasion, and, we trained out in Kuwait, kinda near close to the border, and then, March 19th, March 20th, we moved right up to the edge of the border and went through the breach there, on, I guess they called it D-Day, and went in for the initial combat phase, so
Yeah, after they did the whole shock and awe thing, they sit there and
right,
obliterate with the B-2 bombers and all that
right.
stuff. They're putting all the precision sight, and then they sent the tanks team in, the tanks, battalions, and sent them all in, and then behind that went the next push, which was probably your guys' phase, like with the ground pounders, man.
Yeah, we had tank attachments and,
I was supply Bubba, so I was literally just a sit and duck. We were taking nothing but incoming, and they had to put the Patriot missiles up
right,
because we ended up becoming a target where we were at.
right, right. Well, I remember rolling in and rolling across that breach and, having about 2.5, 3 days driving through the desert going northward, going through the burning, Ramallah oil fields, and, the sky just blacked out and that kinda thing. Um, really didn't see much but Bedouins through the desert, until we got to Nasiriyah,
Mm.
and, I remember just to jump on that, I remember once we got to Nasiriyah, um, we did a short pause to get everything together and pass information before we went into town. And they said, "Hey, so what we're going to do is our mission is to secure the North Bridge because all the Marine units were leapfrogging through. The idea was not to stop in these little towns all along the way, but to get to Baghdad
Oh, cut out real
command
quick.
and control,
Up
take
there.
down Saddam's regime so they couldn't." Yeah. So they said, "We're gonna roll through it as fast as these." So my unit didn't even get Amtrak's. We got 7-ton trucks, and
Yeah.
we
Oh,
we
dude.
hardened them and sandbagged them as best as we could. So they kind of ran out of stuff, ran out of vehicles as they were passing them down. Um, so we're gonna roll through it like 50 miles an hour, blast through the corridor. They said it's already just a hotbed of of firefight activity. We're going to go through town. We're going to secure the North Bridge so that, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, they can get out of there and leapfrog through. And we're going to make our way towards Baghdad. So I do remember that we got right in the middle of town, and those trucks just stopped freaking dead. Everything was on fire. And it was just a hornet's nest of firefight. It stopped us dead in the middle of the city. We were basically kind of stopped right in the kill zone. And I remember looking off to the left, which would be the west side of that main road that goes through Nasiriyah, and seeing two Amtraks that were just split open and gutted open, burnt out, on fire. Just they'd been hit. And so here's the, as a Marine, you can find comedy in any moment. So we're in this hot zone, and there's Marines on the ground and carnage and everything. And I start hearing all this buzzing all around my head. And I thought to myself, so I'm a squad leader at that point, and I'm leading this truck. And I thought to myself, well, this is just insult to injury. Now we're getting attacked by freaking bees. Like, just
Oh
ridiculous.
shit.
Just, you know what I mean? How
Oh
can it get
no,
any worse?
bro. Yeah, no.
So it turns out it wasn't bees. It was really bullets.
Oh,
And
just
we were
hot
just
rounds,
taking,
hot rounds.
it
Oh,
was just rounds just passing by. It's a miracle that I lived through that moment. And we just started returning fire, and dismounting. And as we moved north and hitting those buildings. And that was, I look back now, and it's almost funny that, you know, this kid from California thought we were getting attacked by bees, but it was really all rounds. And that's how Nasiriyah was. That was a mess of that day. So,
bro, dude, Nasiriyah is one of those ones that I definitely heard, and they talked very distinctly about that. That was a hot spot. Fallujah is another one, but
yep,
uh, yeah, bro, like because being over there and being a support unit, there's a lot of stuff that gets relayed back to us because we're also
right,
supporting. We got to get plates out, we got to get MREs, whatever is needed, and we just keep hearing all these things and getting reports of all the hot
right,
spots, and then
right,
they start sending numbers down range of lost life, and we're just like,
right.
oh my
Casualties.
gosh,
Yeah,
yeah. We're just, I mean, it keeps coming through the radio lines, and it was very fast when everything hit, man. I mean, once the curtains came down, so to speak,
right.
like people don't think. I mean, some people don't realize how crazy that place was.
Well,
'Cause there was a lot of town fighting shit going on. It's not that open ground stuff. It's a lot of
yeah. I mean, and it was
going down the
all, really,
streets.
yeah, really house to house into the street. And I kind of feel a little bit of a understanding of what those Marines went through, like, in World War II and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, we were supposed to blast through that town and take our mission on the north side, like say, secure that bridge, and we just stopped dead in the middle. There was almost no way out. Just there was burning everything and blown up vehicles, and you kind of had to kind of find your way, a whole line of 1st Marine Division vehicles to
Mhm.
find your way up that main road to continue on your mission, and stopping and dismounting and engaging. So um, it was a hot mess. So that was my first firefight, and
Gosh, dang. Welcome to the
and
jungle,
as it's
so to speak. Gosh, damn.
but even for you guys as a support unit, as you move up and you do your work, I mean, I learned in Iraq, there's no safe areas. You go up that road, and they just the bad guys kind of come in and filter in. And you're coming up that MSR, that main supply road, and they're going to take pock shots at everybody coming all the way up that
Well,
road.
and
So you guys had your work cut out for you too.
a lot of people don't realize that it was kind of almost a race, and it was like how fast can they get to Baghdad? Everybody was
Right.
just racing to Baghdad, so to speak, from all different areas. So there was a lot of stuff getting missed behind. And the way that these guys fight is during the day, they're normal people. And at night, they're the ones over there in freaking
Right.
setting off IEDs and all that crazy
Right.
stuff. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, that's why, like, the whole thing happened, with Jessica Lynch and the whole army. Uh, they were a supply convoy going through, made a wrong turn, backtracked, and ended up getting attacked. I mean, um,
Right.
we're in their country, we're in their home territory.
Their home
They know
playing field.
all,
Yeah.
yeah, they know all the buildings, they know the tunnels down below, they know, the odds and ends. Here we are in a foreign country, and we just take whatever path we feel safe
Right.
and deem
Right.
as all right. We're going to go for this.
Well, as a
But
squad leader, I had in my cargo pocket and in my rucksack that was mounted on the side of our 7-ton truck, I had maps of basically all the, you would call them major cities, though a lot of them are small towns, all the way up to Baghdad. So as we would dismount, and if we needed to patrol or go street to street, that I would have those. But still, I'm looking. I'm in my home studio right now, and I'm looking at towards my front door through the opening at the studio, and I see a map that I carried in my cargo pocket when we patrolled Baghdad and fought in the Battle of Baghdad. And man, I look at that and exactly what you said, like it's their home turf. I can look at that map, but I could still be really lost even if I had it in my pocket.
yeah, 100%. It's like, if they were to come into my hometown, I know all the spots, I know all the places. You know what I mean? They would be foreign to them. So i- that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize that we're up against too is you can train all day, and do the simulations back in Oceanside and Camp Pendleton, you know, all that stuff. But going over and doing the real thing, and their structures are not like ours.
Right.
That's another thing. Their homes aren't built the same way that our
Right.
homes are built. There's a whole nother structure and different ways that they're built, and uh, things that we had to adapt and overcome, so to
Right.
speak. But that's what Marines are built to do is,
Absolutely.
give us the shittiest equipment in the most shittiest situation, and
Yeah.
we'll paint a beautiful picture for you.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, General Mattis called it controlled chaos, and his call
Yeah,
sign was chaos.
yeah,
And I think you hit the nail on the head with that one right there.
yeah, bro. I mean, nothing prouder though than I mean, honestly, being a Marine. I can't really speak because I've never went into different branch or anything, but there's just a huge thing that in respect, that goes all around. Especially, I think that a lot of people get stuck on this pogues and grunts and all these terms. I kind of think a lot of those folks aren't the ones that ever deployed because if you've ever deployed, everybody gets into combat mode. I mean, at some level, or we
But
are
even
taking
those rear bases, yeah, even those rear
incoming all the
bases in
time.
Iraq. I apologize, I'm cutting you off.
No, no, no. Yeah, I think there's a little pause. You're good, bro.
Oh, even those rear bases in Iraq take mortar fire. So, I mean,
100.
you know, um, I think his grunts were pretty badass. I think his Marines
Yeah.
were
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
badass.
Yep.
But I have tons of respect for anybody who served over there in those sandstorms without a shower and sand in your teeth.
Oh,
And
pause.
uh, he was part of a base in Nasiriyah after us Marine grunts pushed through, and they took mortar fire on a regular basis. So, like, he was in the Air Force, I was in the Marines, and we're on stage rocking a great show, and we've both taken enemy fire. So, it's a pretty intense thing. So,
Yeah. I mean,
mutual respect, have respect for all of them.
it is, as a support unit, it is rough because you kind of get that sitting duck syndrome a little bit because all you
I didn't
have
think
the
about that.
choice to do is kind of run to a bunker and hope to God that that missile doesn't hit the bunker. You know, that's why they ended up putting Patriot missiles above us. But, you know, sitting duck syndrome is a thing. When you sit there and you feel like you can't really
Right,
control what's happening, all you can do is try to run and save yourself.
right.
Um, that's, you know, it's a whole different level of anxiety, I think. But also, I mean, to me, that, you know, I never try to compare it, you know, because everybody does their thing and has a specialty in the Marine Corps and they
Absolutely,
kick ass
absolutely.
at
We're
it. And
all part of
that's
that
why we're
team.
successful. And, you know, if it wasn't for the guys back in the rear pushing stuff up to the guys forward, you know, we couldn't keep pushing forward and they wouldn't have the ability to keep moving and keep pressing, you know. And something that we do as Marines is we put the fucking fire on it, you know. We're gonna push. You know, if they say attack that hill, we're gonna keep attacking that hill, and
Right,
everybody behind it is going up that hill until we all get up at that hill and we all slam that
right.
freaking flag, man. You know what I mean?
Well, I love that Chesty Puller said, for example, Chesty
Yep.
Puller said, "New breed, old breed, doesn't make a damn bit of difference as long as it's the Marine breed." And I think that crosses over even for different MOSs in the Marine Corps. Um, I remember being about halfway up to Baghdad and fighting through, I mean, it was basically firefights and patrols through every city all the way up there with Regimental Combat Team 1, Diwania, Giraffe, Al Giraffe, and all of these cities all the way up. Um, and I remember getting to a point where they said, "We have pushed, we're getting near the Al Cut area." And they said, "We're getting to a point where we've pushed and attacked and fought so fast and so furious, so far forward that we've outrun our supply chain." So the call came over the radio, and my platoon commander said, "Hey, squad leaders, tell your Marines, your junior Marines, if they've not eaten their last MRE to save it, to conserve water in your canteens and your camelback and save it because we don't know when we're getting resupplied." So that shows my respect for these support units that had to go through these hostile areas knowing that they had to get food and bullets and band-aids, beans, bullets, and band-aids, right? So now
Yep.
y'all have to fight up that MSR more as sitting ducks because they know you're coming. There's a long line of green vehicles coming all the way up that main road and to resupply us. So
Little noticeable.
a little bit noticeable. Yeah, these are huge monolithic, like,
It's not a
15-foot high
sandstorm
vehicles.
coming for you.
Right, trail of dust 100 feet high. But,
Yeah.
mad respect for, the supply units that, we would have gone hungry and we would have not had enough, medical kits and things without the coming up that, dangerous MSR to, resupply us,
Were
so
you part
we
of
all
first
are part of that team.
FSSG? Were you under? Did you guys fall under first FSSG? Do you know? Because
I would I would, um I
pretty
would have
sure
falled so RCT1, we would have been, 1 MEF,
first meth. Okay, so then
1st
it
Marine
was
Expeditionary Force.
me, my supply s-
You
feeding
would have
you.
been 1st FSSG, yeah, would have been yeah, so
I'm feeding. I was first meth headquarters group.
okay.
I was feeding the front, and I was attached to a grunt unit. So we even had to go over to Coyote, and because we had a huge fire over at Camp Commando, and it burned tons of everybody's shit, like sea bags, all their
Oh
gear,
my gosh, wow.
everything. I mean, melted weapons. You could hear the rounds just.
Yeah,
It was
all
crazy.
the cook-offs.
Yeah, man. So we ended up having to go. Uh, Spent nights going to different camps, and one of them was Camp Coyote over there. So that is kind of crazy. I think that the Marine Corps is it's big, but it's big, but it's a small world too. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
funny when you're in about that time frame. There's chances are we probably cross paths. You know what I mean? My cousin was a 0311 as well. He actually ended up going through the Battle of Fallujah. He really, you know, they took a lot of losses, and he went through a lot of stuff himself. He's
Right.
actually a little bit younger than me, but man, um, he had some crazy stories.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It's a small core. It's a small world. Um, I recently, just to kind of take a little left turn, but still staying on the same kind of railing. Um, I recently was endorsed for my music. Was endorsed by a guitar equipment and pedal company called Fallen Raider Audio out of Texas,
That's
and
great.
they make all those effects pedals that kind of make the guitar sound really cool. And that's the company I use. So it's a Marine owned company, veteran owned company, and they endorsed me as one of their on their roster of endorsed artists. And some of their artists they endorse are actually pretty big names. So I'm very honored to be part of that. Um, and
Yeah,
it
let's go
turns
ahead and
out,
kind of gear into more like what got you into music and
right? Okay,
all
cool.
that stuff. So we'll go ahead
Right.
and kind of switch gears now and get more into
Okay.
the good stuff now. What you got going
Well,
on?
the cool thing was, is it turns out as I got to know Buddy Daubertine, who is the president of Fallen Raider Audio, um, is that he was with 2-1 Raiders and was with RCT1. So we meet each other
Yeah,
20 years later through music,
some
through country
badass.
and rock and roll, and we were in the same regiment in the push um, in 2003 in the Marine Corps. So very very cool. Just what you said. I'm piggybacking on that. It's a small corps,
It
you know.
really is, bro. I mean, it's crazy because even guy that I went to high school with, he was over there, and you might even have been with him too because he was with 2-1 out of Camp Porno, I think. I don't know. You
Yeah,
guys
I
may
was at
have
Horno.
crossed
Yep,
paths.
that's where I was. Yeah,
So yeah,
First Marines.
My buddy Ruben Garcia, he good buddy of mine. You probably crossed paths with that dude too. Last
Wow.
name Garcia, but I don't know. He was a 0311 as well. But I'll have to go through some of the pictures. That'd be funny if you were in his pictures.
Yeah, that would be really really cool. So,
Uh,
but
yeah, man.
But yeah,
So
so, came home and, as you mentioned, my bio says that I took time to reflect and heal. And there was a lot of time that it took to kind of get me in a position where I was a public figure in singing and that type of thing. So, um, the time in frontline combat. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's my guy. Yeah, that's me. Okay. I saw the
yeah,
uniform.
no, yeah, no, man.
Yeah,
I
that's
was pulling
me
you up real quick.
as a
I forgot I
corporal.
had some of
Yeah.
these real quick. I was like, oh, let me. Oh, that's your music one. But
Yeah, awesome.
yeah, I thought I would share that real quick. But yeah, we'll get back into your music now.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm very inspired by you know, um by the Marines that I served with. People have asked me many times what's my inspirations in music, and I could come up with a laundry list of some big rock star names, but realistically, you know, deep down to the core of it, I'm inspired by those I served with, those I saw doing amazing things, um, putting their life on the line and extending soldierly virtue and compassion to the civilians that needed help, the abused people. And those guys and gals that I served with that did something bigger than themselves, that could have been home in comfort, could have been going to college and having a different route. Those are the things that inspire the lyrics in my songs. And more specifically, as I digest and go through my healing process, even now today, I have these nightmares. I'm still plagued with nightmares, and I'll wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want to go back to sleep and fall back into that nightmare. So I'll come into this room which around me is surrounded by amplifiers and musical equipment and stuff. And I'll come in here and start while my family's asleep in this home studio and start writing songs, pick up my guitar. And, I like to say finding my way back home one song at a time. But that's what has inspired my full album and these new singles that have just come out.
Absolutely love it, bro. So I guess we'll get kind of more into talking about how what actually got you to learn the guitar and stuff like that. What kind of brought you, when you had, because I've tried to pick it up, man. Dang, you gotta, I mean, I don't know, my sausage fingers or something, my patience maybe, but it's rough.
You know there's a tenacity to it. There's a stubbornness that you gotta stick to kinda get over that first hump to learn it. Um, you know, ever since I was a little kid, when I first heard music on the radio, when I really first was exposed to Elvis by my older brother, um, there's just something about it. I knew it spoke to me. And I will tell you, from being a little kid specifically, I knew when I grew up, I wanted to be a Marine specifically or a rock star. I wanted to be like Paul Stanley from Kiss or Chesty Puller. So I got to get my feet wet in both worlds, though I
Yeah,
never, made that type of a claim, getting that big. But I just knew it was music and it was service in the Marine Corps. I mean, I knew that from a very young age. So
that's outstanding, bro. So now what? Now, what's your vision with music and stuff like that? Now, what do you plan on doing with it? Do you, uh, what's your goals and in the future look like for Scotty Fraser?
well, what I've done is since this solo career has kicked off and I tour throughout Texas with my band and as a solo artist, I do everything from cool venue club gigs, and I'll do some gigs for Gold Star families, and we did one for a veterans organization that treats PTSD up in Dallas, and we'll do things like that. But it's really the music I do has a mission. The mission was the Marine Corps at one point was battle, and now the
Mhm.
music is the mission, and it's really to bring hope and healing to America's heroes through the powers of music, to bring that camaraderie at my live events, to bring inspiration, hopefully through my songs that people listen to on streaming. Um, there's a lot of hardship and a lot of battles that go on in the mind with veterans as we come home and transition out. And I hope those songs that I write that are released, the full album, the Do or Die album is out there. And I hope it brings people hope and empowerment to fight the darkness, to live another day, to fight that battle of life. And that's really what and why I do music now is really to serve others through music.
Nice. So, is there a song from your new album that you would like us to play? I got it queued up. We could play "Tattoos and Battle Scars." You were
Yeah,
there.
so
Uh,
tattoos and battle scars is a great one. One of my favorites is also Never Surrender.
Never surrender.
Never
There's Do or
Surrender was
Die.
a Never Surrender was a direct call out to the darkness of PTSD. My hope is that with that song, that if people sing it along, that that mantra will stick in their mind to never surrender on this life.
Oh, here it is. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this up. Let me queue it up real quick. Right, here it is. All right. Try to play some of it. Maybe if we talk a little bit too, it won't hit us on
Yeah, sometimes they get hit with copyright, but if the powers that
ah,
be are listening, I give this podcast full right to play my music.
Yes, appreciate that. Yeah, that might help. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Can you hear it?
I was broken for a while, a drop of blood for every mile I'm on. I took all that they gave and lived to fight another day. But if today is all I get, I'll make my mark and you can bet that I'll never surrender on this life. And I'll never surrender on this life. I can't change the past, but I can change how the story turns. 'Cause it's not mistakes that make us, but the lessons learned. Because what doesn't kill me will make me stronger in the end. And I'll never surrender on this life. And I'll never surrender on this life. And even if I fall, I'll get back up, standing tall again, with a medal on my chest. God knows I've done my best. Because what doesn't kill me will make me stronger in the end. And I'll never surrender on this life. 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 On this life.
Gosh, damn, I love our uniform, bro. Yeah, I mean, you can't tell me there's a better uniform than the dress
It's
blues, United States Marine Corps, dude.
Marine Corps dress blues has been known to be one of the leading causes of pregnancy worldwide. Yes.
Right? Man. But I love your music, bro. One thing that I can say that I definitely appreciate your music and a lot of veterans that I've listened to by getting the opportunity to play you guys on Gunroom Radio, um, is you guys tell stories, and there's still real music to what you guys are doing. A lot of what we got today is like these hooks, like a couple of sentence with a nice beat behind it, and everybody catches on to the hook.
Right.
But something that I can respect with your music and a lot of veterans music is there's stories that are behind it. And
Right.
that, that's still true music. And there's still, you know, instruments and all that. It's just I love it. I absolutely love it, man.
Well, I love really all genres of music, and
Same.
there's a lot of good stuff out there. But as I get deeper into this circle, and a lot of it comes out of Nashville, but as I get deeper into the circle of making these friends with these other veteran artists, I'm really blown away at exactly what you said. These stories that are being told. By people like Chris Turner and Shannon Book and Malachias and Barbara Sim and Stephen Cochran, and just the list goes on and on. Those
Adrian
artists that I just
Miller.
mentioned,
Yeah,
just a
there's
few
tons.
that are inspirations to me. Yeah, those are my brothers and sisters, and I love to, I can't speak for anybody else, but I like to tell a story in my music, and some of these songs take 5 minutes to write, and some of my songs take days, and some don't get finished and see the light of day in the recording studio for months. But I want to say something that's bigger than just me myself. You know, yeah, it's me in the video, it's me moving around and with the guitar and all, but I want my songs to be about us, about a combined experience. And I'm really hoping that the lyrics that I write can, like I said, bring hope to people, do something positive, do something a little bit different.
Yeah, bro. And they definitely do. I can tell you, um, it's inspirational too, and it's I think it also shows others there's ways to talk about things and there's ways to,
Right.
deal with your stuff. Music has always been therapeutic for me. That's why I wish I was more instrumentally inclined, but
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. If I'm not, I'm just good at chewing on crayons, but um I
Well, you
love
can always be a
listening to
singer.
it,
You can always
and
be a singer. Yeah.
that's true. That's true. If if I can get it out there, but
But can I break in and say something real quick
yeah,
on that note,
absolutely, brother.
just
Yeah,
to be supportive of you?
sure.
Is that myself as a musician, as a touring musician, and a recording artist? That's one thing, but you are the other side of me. Like, I mean, there's two of us on the screen right now, and we really are 50-50, because you're putting my music out there and you're getting this story that I tell out to other people. So you may not play the guitar, but you are very much, like they would say, the fifth Beatle. You're very much part of my team, part of my band. I mean, without you putting the music out there, people wouldn't hear it. So I'm grateful for you. So you're doing a very important part of the music industry, even without playing an instrument.
Man, I appreciate you. You know, Something I've gotten to know about you too, brother, is you're a very humble man. You're extremely humble, and I love it. You probably don't give yourself enough due credit, but that's why I love spreading your music because I love your message. I love
Well,
you
thank
as a
you.
person, and I love your story too, bro. You're a hero. Whether you believe it or not, you're a hero. You're one of our country's heroes. Um, you know, not a lot of people go and put on the uniform and are willing to go do or die, so to speak. Uh,
Right.
but it takes what is it? Well, 1%, 2%ers of the population to go out there and go do this. You're one of them, and
I like to say I'm just a
use it.
kid that got in. I like to say I'm just a kid that got in the short line at the career fair at high school.
Yeah, I mean, however you may look at it, but that's one of the big things about my podcast is trying to get stories out there like people like you, bro, that like I said, you don't seek attention, but you deserve a lot of it, and that's the way I see it, bro. It's like um we only see very small, like a very small fraction of stories that come out of combat. There's good stories in combat. There's horrendous stories in combat. But either way, I think that we need to have a vessel for these stories to get out there so a lot of other people can hear it and say,
Right.
man, I remember being in school watching this on the news. Now you're getting a little bit of an actual what some of these guys were seeing, how they were feeling, and what they're going through now. And it, one of our things with our generation is we've always been pretty much told to suppress a lot of stuff, how we feel, you know,
Right.
um, stuff like that. So I've kind of started to get into that level of like, hey, man, we need to start talking about stuff and getting it out there,
Right.
letting people know. And then also talking about these things, it has a little bit of healing,
Right.
that goes with it as well, because you're talking about stuff that just we don't go talking about with a lot of general population people, because
Right.
sometimes when you tell your stories you feel like people are like, oh, they just can't relate. It's it almost sounds like a movie to them,
Well, I've
but
I've said on at a number of my live performances, and I do about 30 events a year. Pretty busy music playing schedule. But I've told people at my shows, I said, that everyone being in the crowd listening to me sharing my story, it's basically we're like in one big PTSD support group. You know, it just looks like a rock concert at the moment. But
right.
but just what you said, it's like we need to talk about it, and folks need to talk about it, so we don't have any more of the 22 or more losing the battle with the darkness. I just happen to do it through music. That's the way I communicate. Like my song "Do or Die" was really written out of basically a moment of flashback to sitting in a fighting hole on the outskirts of Baghdad along the Tigris River. And I'm blessed that people have said that song, in all branches, that song reminds me of being over in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I do it through music. But you're absolutely right that we need to be talking about it.
Yeah, bro, because I mean, I wish I could have seen podcasts with veterans from the Vietnam era, which I still try to talk to them as much as I can, but I wish I could hear more of their stories. The World War veterans, all of them. I wish I can hear more of their stories, because, you know, imagine how many stories there are. So for
Right.
every one that made it home, every one of them's got a story. It doesn't matter at what element of combat you were in, you got stories,
Right.
whether you were a support or where you're out, whether in the front lines, and some stories, obviously are worse than others, but everybody's got a story out there to tell. And I
Right.
think it's just it's good for us to talk about it, and for other people not to feel insignificant either of what they did,
Right.
because even if you didn't deploy out into the combat zone and you stayed back in stateside, you were still, I'm imagining, your mission was supporting the war, so
Right.
you were over here
Everybody
packing up
does their part.
electronics
Yep.
boxes or whatever, and then shipping them off to us. And, so everybody plays a part.
Right. Absolutely. And as I transitioned into veteran status, I gained so much more insight and respect for all branches and all jobs, all MOSs. Like I said, that time that we were halfway to Baghdad and we ran out of food and we ran out of water and we were low on ammunition without the supply units making that dauntless journey up the highway to hell, up Highway 1, Route 7, we would have been in a lot of trouble. So I have a lot of respect for anybody who puts on the uniform, raises their right hand, and does their part. And those folks are my brothers and sisters. And I almost get choked up talking about it, but those are my inspirations for my music. Those are who my songs belong to. I like to say I'm only as good as the company I keep. And being around you and those guys and gals that wear the uniform, I think I'm in pretty good company.
Yeah, man, and we're blessed to have you in our company. I'll tell you that much.
Well, thank
Like I
you.
said, you're extremely a humble guy, easy to talk to. Um, I appreciate you, brother, for coming on and taking the time to share your stories with us and
Absolutely
talk about
honored.
everything you got on. Like I'll be always listening to your music, brother, sharing you out to the world.
Yeah.
Because you're a good guy. Before you head out, couple things. For one, tell us where we can find your music. That would be one. I showed you guys. He's on YouTube, so look him up on YouTube. That's for one. You can go look at the music videos and stuff. And second off, a last message for the viewers.
So you can find my music. Appreciate that. Thank you. Before I get too far, I've been following you on social media for a while too. So you've said some very kind things about me, but I'm a big fan as well. And anybody like you that takes their time to support our servicemen and women, our heroes, my heroes, has my respect. Absolutely. What you do is, really, really a very important part of all of it. So my music can be found, my album, Do or Die, can be found on all streaming platforms worldwide, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, Pandora, Apple, iTunes, all that good stuff. There are a few official music videos that can be found on YouTube. You can also listen on YouTube. And at ScottiFraser.com, and that's Scotti spelt with an I and Fraser spelt with an S, I'm spelling of my name. ScottiFraser.com, you can find all that content, my bio, videos, Spotify link, and what shows and events I got coming up. As far as leaving folks with something, I would just say basically the mantra to that song that you just played. Just never surrender. Just if I could look into your viewers' eyes right now, anyone watching, I would just say, you're important, you're needed. If you left this world or you left this room, it would be changed forever. It would be a lesser place. So keep fighting. Never quit, never surrender. And hopefully we can all go up and fight this battle together.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate that message.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
once
Appreciate it.
again, dude, I appreciate you coming on. Semper Fi, my brother.
Semper
And
Fi.
heck yeah. And if you could just hold tight, I'll be back there in a second. But once again, Scotti, thank you so much, brother. And I hope you have an amazing 2024, buddy.
Hey, we'll do it together. God bless all you guys. And thank you so much, my brother.
All right, brother. All right, friends and fam. Well, that wraps up another great interview. I love Scotti Fraser. You guys got to go out there, check out his music, go support him, give him all the love and support you can. Share his music with everybody. He's a great guy, and we appreciate him so much. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. Remember, don't let it kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking its ass. Until next time.